Welcome to Relationship Real Talk, hosted by MyNFT.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Relationship Real Talk with my relationship experts. We've got Dr. Rob and Dr. Lynn, and hosted by yours truly, my NFT. We've got another great episode. Honestly, we were just reading through some of the different topics that we'll be discussing today, and I think we've got a great crucial episode. I think vital episode that may hit home for a lot of people today. I know just
I'm
reading
scared.
through it, it was hitting home for me, and I can see myself in different areas of where this discussion may go. But to kick things off, we'll just again keeping the same format with Dr. Rob and Dr. Lynn, where first half of the episode we'll touch more on the singles portion before then, giving a more in-depth point of view on couples. That being said, so today's episode 8, we'll be talking a bit more about having someone complete you, whether that is from the singles perspective, looking for someone to complete you, or from the couple's perspective, your spouse can't heal what you won't reveal. So maybe being more intentional in sharing personal personal details and just being vulnerable. The maybe that'll be the episode title: vulnerability in relationships. So that being said, Dr. Rob, Dr. Lynn, how have things been?
Well, I'm about to. I feel vulnerable right now with all these questions you're going to throw at us. Because wow, and it's funny how things work, right? In that a lot of the topics that you just mentioned, you don't know our case though. You don't know our case or anything. I promise we don't share like that. But we all have the same Holy Spirit, and we're seeing a lot of what you're talking about in the counseling room these days.
Ooh.
So yeah, some of this is coming at you raw, like fresh off the what that just happened. Yeah, so I'm excited to just get into this. I'm also I'm almost afraid of what's going to come out.
Well, that just makes me even more excited because to our audience, we other than having a bit of a like guideline or topic for these episodes, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know what you're gonna say. You all don't know what you're gonna say. So everything is fresh, and that's the beauty of this podcast, Relationship Real Talk. Everything is coming from the heart and soul, and you're getting the raw, unfiltered responses.
Relationship Real Talk.
Relationship Real Talk. By the way, we've got some cool merch coming soon that we'll be revealing. So stay tuned. There'll be plenty of ways to support my relationship experts, whether you're a counselor and you're actually they're supporting you, or you can find different ways to support them via their upcoming MyNFT store launch. All right. That being said, let's jump into the topic: vulnerability in relationships. One of the Substack articles, which again you can find the Substacks links throughout our social medias to follow and really get an in-depth look or insights into a lot of these topics from the heart and mind of Dr. Rob. But for this conversations around vulnerability, why do you think that the whole finding your other half is potentially a very risky approach to finding someone or being in the dating scene? What do you feel happens when someone is focused on completing themselves through another person?
Ooh, I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, you really? Well, okay. Wow. So first of all, that puts a huge burden on the person, right? Look, first of all, if you're not complete within yourself, you don't make a very good match. You're looking. In fact, you're putting, like I said, you're putting a lot of burden on the person that you meet to fill in gaps that they may not have been designed to meet.
That's so
Really?
good. Yeah.
So, because if you look at it, if I'm not whole, if I'm not complete, that means I got a whole lot to work on before I'm any good for anybody.
And then you try to work on that while you trying to find somebody.
Well, they're trying to work on themselves.
I know, no, but I'm just trying to say is like, if you're not going into the relationship, complete already, then you get into this relationship and you still trying to complete yourself and get yourself whole and stuff like that. No, you need to be whole before you go into it. You need to be complete before you go into that relationship.
And it sounds so romantic, right? Because if I say to a woman, I want you to be my everything, that can be scary, right?
And they say it so often, though.
What if I don't live up to your everything?
Yeah.
Why don't you and God be your everything?
Yeah.
And let me be my everything by your side. Because if we are two halves that become one, that's kind of limiting. If I'm a whole person and she is a whole person, and we bring both of those things together, whew, two whole people
together
changing the world.
Yep.
And that really touches on one of the Substack cores, which was wholeness before partnership. But I'd almost want to challenge that a little bit to get your take, because it's almost like, what's the saying, or whether it's like you'll never start, right? If you're always trying to complete yourself, what does the complete version of me look like, and if you don't necessarily think, oh yeah, I'm not ready, so when will you ever be ready? So what does wholeness in your perspective look like because obviously perfection is never going to be reached, right? And I don't think you'll ever be maybe exactly that complete self that you may want to be, but I guess there should be a bit of leeway, right, in terms of what does wholeness mean? It doesn't mean you have everything, finance, car, everything put together. I know my family has given me the advice that you don't necessarily need to be at that end goal to then go find somebody. You don't need to be 10 years in your career, house, everything's set up, and then go find somebody. That can sometimes be a recipe for not necessarily working, or maybe even attracting the wrong person because they're just there because you have everything now. so anyway, back to the question: what is wholeness in your opinion?
It comes down to a simple comparison, or a simple versus need versus want.
Yes.
If I need her, I'm not whole. If I need anything from her finances, her influences, her connections, some people will even say, well, I need her to be closer to God. No, you don't. And if you're thinking that, you're really crippling yourself. If I go into a relationship with her because I need her, then I know that I'm not ready for her. If I'm in this relationship because I want her, and I don't mean any,
I know.
I want to be with you.
Yeah.
I want to become more, because you inspire me. You are someone that I'm proud of, not in a bad way, but in a good way. I'm proud of the person that you are. Whenever I see you out in the community, you're the type of person I want to say, yeah, I'm with her. I want her. I want her influence, her love in my life.
You want me to be closer to God.
Yes.
Yes.
And so that desire kind of shows the difference between need and want. If I need her, then she should be running for the hills. If I want her and she wants me too, she likes what she sees, then this is a relationship that can really go the distance.
Yes.
Wow, I was not expecting such a whole response there, throwing you on the spot like that. Because I think that I love how you're able to break it down in a way that people can follow. It's not financial, but it's more so, like you said, need or want. If you ever feel if you feel like you're in a position where you need something from that person, then yes, you might need put brakes and be like, wait a second, why do I need this person? Because that type of dependency, like you said earlier, that's a lot of pressure. Not even on you, right? That's a lot of pressure on them, which
Yeah.
they didn't sign up for when we went on that date.
They can
Um,
even be needs like emotional needs,
Yeah.
validation.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about myself, so I need to be with her because she says nice things to me, and I feel validated.
Yep.
I felt rejected my entire life, so I need to be with her because she gives me the validation just by showing up and having dinner at McDonald's with me.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
Not healthy at all.
and that validation, we talk about this a lot in our episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But what is in your opinion, what's the root cause? What's how do you become whole, or with something like that? In your opinion,
Counseling.
Root cause?
Oh, the root cause? Well, I mean, they could have been like, you just say, I said, hey, counseling. Yes.
I mean, it probably, if you don't know where to start, that could be a good start.
But I mean,
Yeah, counseling is not the root cause.
I know
No,
counseling is
it's
not the root cause, but
just
counseling will help.
Right. Yeah, that's a good.
I would
clarification.
definitely say with because me, I always when we are counseling, I always thank you Holy Spirit is listen for the key things that He's downloading to me, and then I'm like, okay, that's the root. Past trauma, not only just with the trauma, but you got rejection, you got abandonment, you got all these different things that people go through. And even though they're going through all these different things and stuff, but again, that's why I said counseling first, they don't know how to handle all those things that has happened to them either in the past, the present, then they as they're going through those things, a lot of times, if they have not healed and are not whole from those things, then basically they will and I'm using this analogy, they will actually, it's just like a scar. If the scar is not healed, it's gonna keep oozing and blood and all that. It's just bad. But if a scar has a chance to get healed, and as that scar is healed, that means it's not doing anything anymore. So you're whole with that, because now it might still be there. Because I actually have a scar from when I was 12, but it's not. I can do whatever to it. It's not hurting now, but it's still there. But I'm past, the process of it going through what it needs to go through in order to heal. Like that one, don't you?
Yeah.
That's a good
And
one.
what she said, all those things, those past experiences,
Yeah.
they manifest in the today
Yeah.
as insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I am insecure, that's when I need the validation.
Yeah.
And it's like a trauma-informed approach to relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I was abandoned before, so I need someone to help me feel safe.
Yeah.
I was hurt before, so I might be a little bit avoidant in getting involved in that relationship, or I can get involved in that relationship, but then I start sabotaging it because I've got this pre-action, not reaction, but a pre-action,
Yeah.
fearing what's going to come, and things just start to crumble apart because my inner self is thinking about what happened to me before.
Yeah.
And these are the types of things that come up through counseling, and then you learn how to deal with them.
Yeah.
You identify them, you deal with them, and then you can love more deeply.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, you touched on a few of these, but for someone that maybe doesn't realize they have these insecurities, right? Or as in other episodes we talk about the patterns that you find yourself, running into. What are some of the examples of insecurities that examples that could show up in while you're dating or in a relationship? What are maybe some key things that the listener could be listening into and it's like, oh wow, okay, that could be it. What are, based on maybe examples that you all have seen, counseling or just personal examples?
So it usually doesn't start with a recognition while you're in the middle of it. It usually starts with a question. Why does this keep happening to me? I get into these relationships and they fall apart. I fall in love with someone and then I lose the relationship. And then you start to think, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. Or maybe there's something wrong with everybody that I date. Why do I keep attracting the wrong person?
Then you start being insecure.
Yeah. And so these are the questions that start welling up.
Yeah.
And when we stop and we pause and we ask, well, why do I even have this feeling? How do you address it? First of all, it's a matter of recognizing that I need help.
Yeah.
I've tried so many times before to address this, yet and still I'm where I am today. If I knew how to fix this on my own, I'd be married.
But why would you fix it on your own? Get counseling. I'm sorry, just a little segue in there. Go ahead.
The beauty of counseling is that you'll have someone who knows what they're talking about,
Yeah.
giving you an objective opinion,
Yeah.
an objective insight into what you're experiencing. Because first of all, if we're talking about vulnerability, you'll tend to be more vulnerable with your counselor than you are with your friends. Why? Because you want your friends to think the most of you. You want your friends to think you got it together. And to be honest with you, your counselors, they may be trained on how to help you, but their opinion shouldn't really matter as much as the insight that they provide. You're not trying to impress me. You shouldn't be.
And that
We
hits
do
on,
sometimes.
right, and that hits on another Substack core, which is the vulnerability aspect creates connection.
Ooh.
Not just being vulnerable to you, like your counselors, but being vulnerable potentially while you're dating. Because yes, it could increase your connection while counseling, but in your opinion, how does that increase connection in a relationship?
You want to take that one?
or even like how does vulnerability, how important is vulnerability in a relationship? And then maybe a second part to that is how do you let yourself become vulnerable?
Ooh. Wow. Okay, so first of all, we are talking to singles right now because it means it's a very different question with married couples. The importance of being vulnerable, you got to take that in stages when you're dating or courting, because you don't want to walk in and just unload everything.
Yeah.
That's just scary. You don't want to get into oversharing, right?
So bite-sized pieces.
Bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
But you're real. You're not trying to impress. You're just revealing what's on your heart. And sometimes we do in dating. We feel that is being too vulnerable, because if I show them my heart and then they turn away, then I feel like they are really rejecting me. Right? If I don't share my real self with you, if I don't share my deep self with you, and you walk away, I can just say, well, they didn't know me.
No, but that's not good. You need to be vulnerable.
You do.
Yes.
And as
Bite-sized vulnerability.
Bite-sized vulnerability.
Ooh, that need to be put on the shirt.
I was thinking the same thing.
Write that one down.
I know, right?
But when you're dating, authenticity and or the lack of authenticity is really detectable.
Yeah.
If I'm fake, that's going to come across.
Yeah.
If I am cagey.
It's gonna come across.
And it's going to come across.
Yeah.
But if I'm just for real, and even if something, if a question hits home and I'm not ready to share yet, it's okay to say, I want to share that with you someday.
That's good. Oh, that's so good.
Ooh, that is a I think a really good little maybe tip there for those that maybe tend to share a little too much early. It's like, wait a minute, I remember that episode
I
with
know,
my
right?
relationship. Hey, I love it. It's probably a little too much for now. I would love to share it with you later, as we grow together.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's a great little tip, for lack of a better term, for those that maybe find themselves being a little too vulnerable at times. And I think one thing I'm going to my head, because sometimes people are more vulnerable, and then they're like, well, I've tried that. Right? I think, remember our one X space with our Twitter space that we had with a guest audience that jumped up and said, this keeps happening to me. And going back to, if we could do a full circle, I believe the reason you becoming vulnerable, regardless of how that looks, is good. Maybe taming it a bit at times, but once you become whole and you don't need any type of validation,
Yep.
you can now walk confidently into these relationships, dates, and yes, maybe you might overshare. You're not. Don't put pressure on yourself to be perfect in that conversation, but you're going to be okay if it does not work out,
Yep.
because guess what? You are a whole. You don't need someone to say, "Oh, I think you get my point. Is it? I think because some people might say, "Oh, I can't be vulnerable, and it never goes my way." But if you're always thinking that way, there is probably some insecurities, some other things behind the scenes that need to be unpacked for you to feel more confident going in. I don't know. Is that making sense?
that
I'm trying to put things
yeah.
full circle.
That
Absolutely.
makes perfect sense.
And another way to think of my other half, I want to find the person who's meant for me. That's almost like saying there's one person
Wow.
in the whole world that I'm supposed to be with. And a danger. And I know people who have that opinion. But the thing is, first of all, that puts some horrible limitations on a limitless God, right? Second of all, if I'm not sure that I have found that person, then you'll keep looking as opposed to trying to make this relationship work. Every relationship is going to take work, every one. But if I hit a glitch, something that just feels that we have an argument, whatever the case may be, and I can start to think, well, maybe I'm not with that person I'm supposed to be with, and I leave the relationship behind. But we could have made this work and be beautiful. But I gave up early. I took an early exit ramp, looking for something else that just doesn't exist.
And to your point, so I think perfect segue into our couple section. In terms of why do you think, and I'm already thinking of answers here as well, but why do you think couples tend to either be less vulnerable in the beginning or even towards the end of relationships? Because, I feel like that vulnerability thing is all very crucial throughout an ongoing relationship, marriage. Why do you think couples tend to hide things or don't feel like they could be vulnerable after years and years of getting to know somebody, and now what do you think that reason could be? Or
I can think of a couple reasons.
Ooh, let me go first though.
okay, I told you all this was going to be a juicy episode.
So I mean,
Go ahead.
I feel like a person is the vulnerability part of it. So say for instance, they don't bring forth their authentic self, and they're not giving the person, again, you don't want to overshare a lot, but you do need to share. There could have been something that happened, and it's something that you really want to really talk to your person, about. It's like, hey, we're getting to know each other, but we're getting to know each other, and it could be something. I'm gonna go as far as something medical. Even the person could have a limp, and this is something that they've had since birth, you know. But then once you get into a relationship, follow me, you know where I'm going with this. I mean, and then you get into this relationship, and then you've been in the person's like, well, you know, you're walking kind of, your walk is off. If you didn't share that, even that little, which is not little, actually it's something big, you know, now it's just like, okay, well, now I got this relationship with you, and then now, you know, you got something going on with you, but why you didn't, you get what I'm saying? So it's best to share. Are you understand where I went with that? Okay. You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
So I just say you need to be vulnerable, period. You know, and again, like I think Richard, you just even said, like, then you get into this, you know, you're into your marriage, and you didn't share certain things. He's like, oh yeah, I had that in my heart, but I just didn't give it to you. What? Why would you do that? Why would you not share everything? Because I'll be honest with you, yeah, I'm on one today.
That's good.
So I'll be honest with you, when we do premarital, that is one thing, and I definitely am the one. When we, you know, we have, because we do premarital together, I tell majority of the counselees, I said, look, first of all, we're Christian counsel, which means we're going to bring forth God's word. But let me tell you something. What you need to do in this premarital is you put everything out on the table. Everything out on the table. The good, the bad, and the ugly needs to go out on the table, so that we want your marriage to be as solid as it can be. It may be some things we may not be able to touch on. However, the majority of the things that you are going into your marriage, we want to make sure that you have a chance to bring forth all of those things.
Yep.
That needs to be done, because what we want is healthy marriages. Because the D word, null and void. Go ahead.
Well, you ate up all my time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Two things you asked. Why do married couples become less vulnerable with each other? Two reasons I can think of off the top of my head. One is importance. Whenever I'm first dating, she's not very important to me. And she could like turn around and say deuces the next day, and I'm like, well, okay, I guess she wasn't the one. And then I'll go back to my dating app and find another date. Not a big deal. So I can be secure in my vulnerability because her opinion is not that important to me. It is somewhere. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it's not a deep. But whenever she's married, whenever I'm married to her, she now becomes the most important person to me on this earth.
That's good.
I really want to impress her. And I want her to think that I am all that and a bag of chips. Right? And so I stop being as vulnerable to her because I want her to think the world of me.
Wow.
But then there's another case. Because we're married, she means so much to me that I don't want to hurt her. And we've had this conversation a few times over the past couple of weeks. I don't want to get vulnerable about how I feel in response to something that you did to me, because I know that if I tell you how much I'm hurting, I will hurt you. So I'm just going to keep it inside. And sometimes we have to tell them, look,
But you need to have those.
You have to have those conversations.
You have to have those hard conversations with each other. Have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to hurt each other's feelings. Absolutely not. But sometimes we're having those hard conversations with each other. Somebody is going to feel some type of way. It's just.
And here's what it's kind of like. It's almost like having some diluted acid in a bottle. A lot of times people think about the bottle and the Coke bottle. You shake it up and you open the cap too fast and it explodes. But in this case, your vulnerability is something that you're keeping inside. You're not letting people see. You're not letting your spouse see what's really hurting you. But as you keep it inside, it's like a diluted acid that slowly eats away at the container.
Ooh.
And then the
Man.
longer you keep it inside, the less integrity that container has. And before you know it, you got leaks all over the place.
Wow.
That is real good. I would never thought about that analogy. Oh my God! Wow.
Wow. And that outward, like you said, that stuff that you're keeping inside tends to now flow to the surface in ways I'm sure you might not be able to point it out originally, but as you probably counsel and peel back the layers,
Yeah.
you start to you might then realize, oh, that started years ago, and it just kept deteriorating
Yeah.
without that vulnerability, without coming to one of my favorite books I've read, Crucial Conversations. Without having that crucial conversation, it's never fun or easy.
Yeah.
But at least one of the biggest takeaways from that book, and it just talked about relationships in general, was yes, it's never easy to have that conversation, but the outcome of it is generally always good. whether it's actually not what you wanted, but it's something that we're able to take outside of you and bring it out. And as long as both parties, and the delivery is never going to be great, communication is a tough thing. But yeah, I mean, I can just say even in my former relationship where we had that crucial conversation and it ended up in a breakup. So it was not ideal for either party. That was not the outcome. However, just through, I guess, experience in other relationships, it was something that I wanted to get ahead of. And today, I'm happy to share that we actually are still talking and we've actually come together to talk about that crucial conversation and how both parties left it. They didn't do the greatest job of communicating it, but that sat with her, and she appreciated the fact that I brought that up. So, yes, I'd love to hear your take.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you're married and you do have that crucial conversation, can you imagine? You open up, you're thinking that this is going to be so hard, and you unpack it anyway, and at the end your spouse tells you, thank you for trusting me.
Yep.
Exactly.
Thank you for trusting me. I actually understand, and they may share something with you that you didn't have a chance they didn't share before. Again,
It's funny how that works. When you become vulnerable, it tends to reciprocate. So that's that. I mean, in any relationships, again, like I've noticed that from sales to dating to the more you just open up, the more people tend to open up themselves. Just the law of reciprocity. Without even, it's not like you're forcing them to. But to your point, to Dr. Lynn's point, you're just like, wow, thank you. I've been meaning to share something myself, but you took that step to open the door for communication. Wow. So, okay, this is actually a great maybe point to round us out in this conversation is, how do you create a safe space for that then, for that conversation, for that vulnerability? Yeah, in a relationship. Let's talk about, early, we're been a month dating now, couple, or maybe it's been 10 years in marriage.
I would definitely say, for me, don't judge that person. Take judgment. Yeah, I mean, and we can do that and not knowing that it's like that you're judging them, because you shouldn't do that. You should be able to let that person, you are their safe place. I mean, I should be able to just, I should be able to be open and be able to communicate to Rob, and him not say, well, you shouldn't have done it. Then that's starting to be judgmental, But then even when you're early on in your relationship, it's like, hey, can we talk about whatever XYZ could be? Can we have that conversation? Now, and as I'm sharing this conversation with you, just take an open objective. Don't, like I said, not be judged. And the judgmental part of it is if I'm telling you and I'm giving you what I have of me, and I need for you to be that safe place. It's like throwing stuff back, Again, judgmental. So that's what I would say. But go ahead, sir.
This might sound a little bad.
Oh, Lord.
I told you at the beginning of this, I kind of am afraid of what's going to come out.
Oh, my God.
So, as you start and grow as you start and you grow a relationship with somebody, effectively every day, you are training them. You are training them on how to talk to you.
Wow.
What you can share, what they can share with you, how deep they can go with you. The way you train them, and it's not that you're doing this intentionally, but this is effectively what's happening. How you react to what they say. So at the very beginning we said, hey, look, we're going to get vulnerable in bite-sized chunks. Okay, great. Well, how do you react? How do you respond to those bite-sized chunks? Do you respond with compassion? Do you respond with condemnation, resentment? Do you respond by mocking them? How do you receive their vulnerable moments? Those vulnerable moments might be somewhat shallow at first, but the more compassion that you show,
that's true,
the deeper they will feel they're able to share with you. And you are kind of training them on how deep they can go with you. You're building that safety as you go along. If you start off at a place where you're not a safe place to be, you kind of laugh at their struggles. You don't connect with their pain. Then they're likely not going to feel very comfortable with you, and they're likely not going to get too deep, vulnerable with you. So,
yeah, no, that's a great point. That it's really how you, like you said, react. And if you're usually reacting, and to your point, who that might be just a personality thing that you're not even realizing that you're unintentionally putting further space between you and that person to actually have a safe space or a vulnerable space to share these things. And I can only imagine how that compounds over time, to the point where it's like, oh, I'm just used to not saying much to you, and now you're years into a relationship and there's so much unknown and because the person doesn't feel comfortable sharing those things, and I can only imagine the slew of things that happen down the line the more this continues. So I don't know if you have any advice for folks that maybe could use some training in creating safe spaces and that, but again, that's probably a counseling answer, or pathway.
And one of the things I will say is that while that is a different endeavor for everybody, how I create a safe space is different from how Lynn would create a safe space. But the way we would coach somebody through that really depends on their inner pulse scores.
Okay.
Because someone who's melancholy, they're going to be deep thinking, deep feeling, and it depends on whether or not they're melancholy in empathy or socialization, in control or influence. Those areas and their scores in those areas help us understand what they need to be able to communicate the way they want to communicate. Because communication there's two sides to it, right? There's what I say and there's what she receives. And if I keep saying, look, I want to connect with you, I want to connect with you, I want to get deep, and she's like, but when you say you want to get deep, all you want to do is sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
It's not deep for her. It's okay, we're spending time together, but it's not quality. right? So as we understand each other, understand ourselves and understand each other, we can learn how to connect at deeper levels. Otherwise, we're just kind of throwing Jello against the wall, see if it'll stick.
And that brings us to another great point. We actually, before jumping into our episode today, shared a success story of someone that found you all locally via social media, and they saw enough content that they wanted to take that test themselves, and you all shared their sort of eye-opening experience that husband and wife got out of doing that hero report and learning in a very deep way about their personality, their traits, and I think you were sharing how the wife was like, "Wow, this is spot on." This is and ended up reading the whole assessment. So again, I think that's just a little plug there to encourage those that are out there that are looking for ways to connect deeper within a relationship, whether they're single or married couple. There's always a starting point, and the insight that, again, from someone that has taken it as well, is very much eye-opening and reveals a lot that maybe you've thought of in the past and haven't been able to put together why that keeps happening. This is a personality trait, but it really, deepens the understanding, and then couple that with the counseling of Dr. Lynne and Dr. Rob, and you get to figure out a path forward, or a maintenance path, or a informative getting to know yourself and how to continue to either build or attract the right person in your scenario. So
Yeah.
that being said, we do want to thank everybody for another amazing, thank Dr. Rob, Dr. Lynne for another amazing session of shared insights on not just their personal relationship, but also some insights into those that they counsel. We really do appreciate you all. And any last words before we give the live engagement for our audience?
Wow. I'm excited to see that.
Yes.
But yeah, what you just said, look, if you want to see how this process can work for you, the hero report, understanding yourselves, just hit us up at counseling at interpulseportal.com. And from there, you can schedule a free consultation with us, an intake. We'll talk to you about how this works. And if you decide to move forward, we'll actually even walk you through the hero report, so you can find out all this insight for you.
To become whole, right? Exactly. This is all for you, and I think that's the path, is to become whole and find that also wholesome person. So. For our live engagement question, I purposely left it, and I didn't even read it. But what we have for today for the audience, something to think about this week, next week, and maybe that could drive that connection with Dr. Rob and Dr. Lynne. But what part of yourself do you struggle letting people see? I think that's a deep question that is probably going to assist in getting you towards that wholesome self, as well as now being able to attract and become vulnerable with others, and potentially that struggle that's been holding you back, and maybe holding you back from forming a deeper, more meaningful, vulnerable relationship with a person. So that being said, sorry, was there anything you want to add there?
No, I just said I love it. That was a great question.
Amazing. Well, this is another awesome episode. Thank you again, Dr. Rob, Dr. Lynne. We appreciate your time and the insights that you provide every time we run these episodes. And again, real talk, off the cuff, just sharing raw, unfiltered experiences with the audience that I'm sure we take back and we're able to learn from, or even find ways of reaching out for help in that process. So that being said, thank you all again. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you for episode 9.
Thank you, Richard.
Yes,
and thank you for watching.
Yes. Thank you for watching.
Cheers, everyone. All right.